Girls of Reddit, what was the best flirting technique someone did to you? When I was 10 I received a love letter from a boy. It contained a flower inside. And at the bottom of the letter he wrote some cheat codes for Mortal Kombat for me. He knew I was always playing that game on my Sega. He brought me a huge tub of my favorite ice cream flavor after hearing that I was having a bad day. I'm British. And I came over to the States on a temporary work visa. To do one ski season with Vail Resorts. I was bartending at an on-mountain restaurant. And a couple of snowboarders come in and start talking to me. Came up that I was only there for the season. Then one of them says I'll marry you so you can stay. But we have to go on a date first. We just celebrated our 13-year anniversary. And I'm still in Colorado. Hey, do you want to help me throw fruit at my friends? 16-year-old boy at summer camp. Holding a bunch of oranges. Who wanted to meet me? I was also 16 at the time. I feel like this is the exact technique that cavemen used to woo cavewomen. I was in Chicago on business. Got a horrible migraine. And had to cancel a meeting with a man I had met with, for work, the day before. I get really bad migraines. Really bad. After it was over I had to get a bit of food and something to drink. But it was very late and there was no way I would survive any kind of car cab ride. He was the only person I knew in town. So I sent him a text to see if he knew of anything in my area that would be safe open that late within walking distance. He drove 30 minutes across town in the middle of the night to walk me to a 24-hour restaurant and buy me dinner. I've been with him for 11 years now. Wait right there. Was riding home with the friends group back in 2008. We stopped to drop off the one guy. And I got out to stretch. I mentioned that the stars were so much more visible up there in the mountains and he said, yeah. They're really pretty. Wish I had someone to watch them with. I'm a sucker for corny guys. We got married the next year and are celebrating 12 years this June. My first boyfriend came into the store where I was working and just straight up told me he had seen me through the window and needed to run home to clean up, put on something nice so he could come back and ask me on a date. It was super endearing. Close bracket. Edit to add. He didn't watch me through the window lol. Just saw me in passing and wanted to ask me out. This was well before dating apps where you basically had to ask in person. He was within my age range. Nice smile and just had a good energy. Also his secondary flirting technique worked just as well. He brought me a book on our second date because I had mentioned in passing that I love to read. He was good at making me feel heard. Told me at a Halloween party that he had his eye on me. We met at a Halloween house party and when I was going to leave he walked me to the room with all the coats which also happened to be a kid's room and he asked me what color crayon would you like to write your phone number with? I married him. Celebrated 20 years. A guy told me that he liked my shoes and asked where I'd gotten them. We were in a bowling alley. Not me but my mum. My mum and dad were set up by a friend of theirs. My mum is completely deaf. Upon being told this before he met her, my dad went out and learnt as much sign language as he could before he met her. My mum doesn't know sign language. When my husband and I started dating, he would do this thing when he shifted gears in his TTY little Sentra. He would kinda of brush the back of his hand on the outside of my thigh as he shifted. I don't know how to explain it, but it was like fireworks every time it happened. We were riding in that car when I realized I could spend the rest of my life riding shotgun with him. First time I hung out at my current BF's house before we started dating. We were laying on the floor listening to records and he turned to ask me what time it was. I think it was 4 if I remember. He then said, wow, you've been here 4 hours and I haven't kissed you yet? Still makes me smile. And needless to say, it worked very well. I like sunsets, they're kind of my thing. I photograph them. Have sold calendars about them. I just like sunsets. Anyway, I was participating in a medical study. and we were sequestered to our room for 14 days. The guy I liked would send me pictures of the sunset each night. Because he didn't want me to miss any. Edit. I didn't expect this comment to get any notice. Thank you for the sweet response. To those saying marry him. I did. And I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a big reason why I did. I didn't say that in my post because it turned out to be a very verbally and emotionally abusive relationship. And I left him in December. I didn't want to turn a beautiful thing into something sad and negative. I don't want to discourage anyone from falling for the sweet gestures. They aren't always attached to a manipulator. I'm sorry the update isn't entirely the happy one you wanted to hear. Believe me, it's not the one I want to be posting. A man I worked with asked me for my phone number. We had already been working together for a few weeks. And a mutual attraction was evident. I pointed to the bulletin board behind him. It's on the wall there. I know. But I want you to give it to me. I don't think his intentions could have been more boldly nor charmingly stated. I once had a guy walk up to me at a bar and said, "Hello. My name is Rob and I'll be hitting on you tonight. What can I get you to drink?" Silly, playful, and direct. We dated for about 8 months. Edit. Whoa. Thank you for the awards. For anyone wanting to use this line. He said it in a playful way with a huge smile. Met my husband through a random roommate's boyfriend. I had met him a few times at this point and he spotted me unloading groceries from my car. He insisted on helping me carry everything in. And even just unloading everything onto the counters while asking about my day. It was incredibly easy to imagine dating him all of a sudden because I had a tiny glimpse into what my day-to-day could look like. Joke's on him though. I now refuse to carry groceries in on principle. Oh. How he rules the day. I started dating the university's lone wolf and was extremely surprised to find how incorrigible a flirt he was. But he didn't speak my native language. He was not from my state and my parents wouldn't have approved of our relationship. When I told him I didn't want to lead him on, he said we would try our best and if it didn't work out he would take full responsibility for his broken heart and that I need not feel pressured. The feeling of liberation I felt cinched the deal for me. Looking back I am strangely touched by how he, an introvert, had allowed himself to be openly vulnerable in front of me. After 7 years of a solid relationship, which included 3 years of wearing my parents down to accept him. We got married a couple of months ago. We trained martial arts together and he bought me my first gi. I thought it was so kind and sweet. Invited me over to watch Gordon Ramsay anger compilations and make candy bugs. I was playing my 3DS on the train and a guy sat across from me. Said, "Excuse me. Can I ask what you're playing?" And we struck up a conversation. I was so engaged that I almost missed my stop. Afterwards we would sit and talk on our way home and he started gifting me books from his work. That's when I asked him out. Edit. Instead of answering individual questions. The game was Animal Crossing. New Leaf. My go-to game to wind down after a long day. When I asked him out, he said yes. But after a few dates, we parted amicably. Sorry. No love story here. We were walking quietly at night and he stopped. Looked me in the eyes. And said, "I think you just broke my writer's block." Not sure if it was a technique, it seemed genuine. When we parted ways he went home and wrote the first song he'd written in months. Boo, it was super hot and I melted when he said it. He bought me the book I was looking at in the bookstore. Took genuine time to get to know me. And bought me a few gifts based on interests he'd asked me about before. I was less amazed by the gifts. And more amazed that he'd cared enough to remember what I actually liked. I'd found most guys wouldn't listen. And would just buy me generic stuff like jewelry or chocolates if they wanted to gift me something. Which was very nice. But not for me. So when he surprised me with gaming merchandise I was thrilled. Guys. Spend those months properly getting to know her. Love the phrasing of that question. And I shall use that from now on. How did you and mom meet? I don't know if it's the best, but it's definitely the most memorable. I was at the gym and had been honestly taking things to the extreme for a while and not listening to my body. I suddenly got very dizzy and my sight became white. The realization that I was about to pass out. I slowly lowered myself down to the floor. One of the guys working out came swooping in to grab me and prevent my head from hitting the floor. He laid me down and tried to get me to remain conscious, asking me all sorts of questions that required some concentration, like what day of the week it is and who is the president. When he saw that I was okay and recovering, his questions started getting flirty. What's my name? What's my number? Now that he's become my knight in shining armor, can he take me out on a date sometime? It really made me laugh and feel better just by him being so light-hearted about it. He got my number. It was my first day in middle school and this kid asked to see my planner. I handed it to him and he flipped to the contacts section and left me his name and number. Not trying to flirt with me and sending me memes instead. My former fiance, he passed away, went 100% cheesy pickup lines but in the goofiest way. He was nervous and I guess had no clue what to say, so he went for broke lol. It went from hello how are you? To a cheesy dad joke why couldn't the bicycle stand up on its own? To the cheesy pickup lines taps pockets like he's looking for something. I lost my number, can I have yours? Although I could tell he was nervous, he had an air of confidence that I was drawn to and he had a great smile. Whoa. I did not think this story would blow up the way it did. Thank you very much for the love. And my first ever award. And yes, the punchline to the terrible joke is it was too tired Nosaroo's copyright airing lol. And I answered it below but I'll add it up here. He was hit by a drunk driver. Since he was taken away from me, I always refer to him as my former fiance. I never say ex-fiance because to me that sounds like we broke up and that absolutely did not happen. The third time we hung out I went to his house. We were both in grad school and were talking in his room, but I was exhausted from school and my 2 jobs. I was sitting on his bed and fell asleep. When I woke up he had put a blanket on me and was playing beautifully on the piano. I was so embarrassed cause I had drooled all over his pillow and surprised that he was so kind about the drool and not creepy about me being passed out on his bed. We've been married for almost 4 years now and been together 8. Bonus fun fact. His brother didn't believe I existed and accused him of making it up till I met him a year later. I was his first real girlfriend at like 25. He said I caught feelings for you and I looked at him confused. But blushing he showed me my screen and that he had caught a POC registered sign-on for me and gave it the nickname Feelings. We are married and have 2 kids now. Thank you all for the upvotes. In college, my best friend was this guy that I had a flirty friendship with. But we were both dating other people. We lived in the same buildings as each other freshman, junior year. And spent a lot of time together, but again, we were with other people. Freshman year we were watching a movie together and this couple had an epic kiss in the rain. And I offhandedly mentioned I thought it was so romantic. Senior year rolls around and we're both finally single. We were walking home from a party. It started raining and he just kinda grabbed me and kissed me. And mentioned he thought about what I said anytime it rained. We had a very intense relationship for about a year and then it kind of ended in disaster and we haven't spoken since lol. TL. DR. Pay attention to the little details and things the person you're into likes. Show them you care about them by listening. Time to read comments and build EXP. As a person with 0 game who is also quite oblivious, being direct is hot and clear communication and doing it with confidence works the best. Close bracket. Semicolon. But also one time someone asked me if you were a pirate would you keep your parrot on this shoulder or this shoulder, putting his arm around me to touch the furthest shoulder. TBH, it actually turned me on even though it was extremely stupid. Okay y'all, to be clear, I don't condone touching a stranger or anyone without their consent unless you understand the parameters of your relationship already. This person was my friend and we were vibing lol. My wife said her favorite line of mine is "I like your lack of beard." I met my now husband while I was in the hospital. He worked there and I was a frequent patient, unfortunately. Anyway, he would bring daffodils to my room. Or apple juice. He snuck me extra warm blankets and would sit with me before after his shift. When I got out, he offered to get groceries and wash my hair. All of it just as a friend. He knew I wasn't interested in dating while going through everything, and so he was just there. Turns out I happen to like him there, and we are celebrating our 12th anniversary this year. Man, this story is so romantic. Yet could easily fit into a girls of Reddit. He bought me a giant bag of beef jerky. A few years later he was tossing pebbles at my dorm window with another bag of beef jerky and roses. He was a great boyfriend. Ended up being a shitty husband though. Will always be in love with the person he was before that. However, he said, "I have a riddle for you." Then he took my hand and traced a line down the middle of my palm. "This is a river. It is too wide to jump over, too deep to wade across, too fast to swim across, and too long to go around. There is a bunny stuck on one side of it. How does the bunny cross the river?" After about 10 minutes of me trying to guess the answer, I gave up and asked him how the bunny got across the river. He said, "Who cares? I just wanted to hold your hand." We walked home together all the time from school, and he would do something cute, funny, caring to make sure I was on the inside of the sidewalk when we were together. Like he would twirl me around and guide me to the inside, or tickle my side and jokingly push me to the inside of the sidewalk. I guess not a typical flirt move, but considering 99% of the I was walking to get anywhere, him wanting me to be safe when we were together was so sweet. We are not together and have never dated, but that still is one of the top things on my list of sweet moments. Even in school he'd walk on the outside cause I always got shoulder checked by people passing by. Years and years ago I worked at Florist, where the owner illegally hired mostly Mexican girls in the States to learn English. They went to school, but worked for a rate that wasn't even minimum wage. It was super shady, but I loved working with them. We would make up little games to teach me Spanish, them English. Anyway, this Latin guy comes in one day and one of the girls is helping him. He wants to get a bouquet for a girl he likes. So she takes him around the store, showing him what she thinks are the best flowers. She wraps it all up for him, and right as he pays, he writes his number on the paper and hands them to her. I was floored. It was so smooth. She was completely unfazed. Like, oh, that's how men are like where I'm from. Men don't do that here. I was like, nope. Edit. I used nonplussed originally instead of unfazed. In my neck of the woods it does mean unfazed. But yes, I'm aware it also means surprised. She sent me a picture of two frogs sitting on a leaf and said us. Flirted with my dog first. He did my dishes. He came up to me and said, "I was wondering if you could help me. I seem to have lost my Congressional Medal of Honor around here somewhere." Just being genuinely nice. My boyfriend was too shy to flirt with me at first since we're only friends. So he texted me saying I looked really nice that day after seeing me. And it was such a simple thing, but it really made my day better. And that can let the person know you are interested in them. It doesn't need to be a big scheme. Arguing with me, but in a way that let me know he respected my opinion. Just disagreed. Not arguing to win or show superiority. Just an enthusiastic exchange of differing ideas. This devolved into teasing. And then into some other things that were a lot less cerebral. It takes a lot of talent to argue without being a jerk. Plus you really have to listen to the other person. Was on a date. Had been talking about books and authors. He asked me if I wanted to go back to his place to check out his book collection. Mine was bigger. Your pants are unzipped. Tried it as a young adult and worked about half the time. Huh? No, they aren't. You. Would you like them to be? I don't know either. I never realize if someone is flirting with me or nobody ever flirted with me. Hey. Nice DCK. The first week dating my now husband. We climbed a tree together and sat in it for an hour. Getting to know each other and making each other laugh. Be genuine. You'll be happiest when someone likes you for how you are. Listen carefully and show you are paying attention goes a long way. Not really flirting. But my BF gave the best gift. We're exchanging Christmas presents. And I get a necklace that is just one big sapphire. I instantly gush. And happily exclaim, you got me my birthstone. BF looks at me confused and says, birthstone? I don't know anything about birthstones. I got it because it reminds me of your eyes. I instantaneously melt into the floor. He meant it too. He got my dog's balls unstuck from the frozen porch with some hot water and a spatula. Then told me to spray the porch with Pam so it doesn't happen again. Good strategy, bro. My buddy worked out a great strategy. He said he was gay. Made tons of chick friends. Really got them to trust him. And then, when they least suspected it, he stole their boyfriends. He brought me, and my little sister, flowers the day after Valentine's Day. He said, everyone gets flowers on Valentine's Day. But the day after you'll be the only one. Cheap bastard knew they were 50% off that day. Yes. I was walking on my university campus. Tripped and dropped my books. Heeled sandals. Raised sidewalk. He asked me if I was okay. And picked up my books. He then carried my books and walked me to class. We chatted the entire walk. And when we got to my class, he asked for my phone number. I tore off a piece of paper and wrote it, but without my name. I wanted to see if he was listening when I told him. He listened. We've been married over 20 years. He makes me smile every day. Edit. You all have made us smile and laugh. Thank you. I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you for the awards. You're too kind. Last year of college for us. He'd show up after my classes and follow me around everywhere, talking incessantly. When he'd see me on campus, he'd run over to say hi. I would flirt by sometimes picking a little wildflower to give to him when I saw him next that day. He'd wear it in his shirt or behind his ear. We now have 2 sons and he's taught the older one, younger as a baby, to give me little wildflowers when we're out walking together.